Good morning. It is so great to see all of you. Let's rise in body or spirit and sing together a very fun, energetic song. And I'm so happy to have a crowd of singers up here to share this song with me. Here we go. You gotta hold everybody. You gotta hold everybody up. You gotta hold everybody. You gotta hold everybody up. Hold everybody up. Up, up, hold everybody up, up, hold everybody up, hold everybody up. Just because you look like you and I look like me doesn't mean we can't be friends. You're not my enemy. You gotta hold everybody. You gotta hold everybody up. You gotta hold everybody. You gotta hold everybody up. 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 People all around the world sometimes feel so bad, but when others show they care, things don't seem so bad. You gotta hold everybody. You gotta hold everybody up. You gotta hold everybody. You gotta hold everybody up. Hold everybody up. Hold everybody up. Hold everybody up. Hold everybody up.
Good morning and welcome. Welcome to our Sunday service. Whether you are with us on Zoom or you're here in person, whether you just flew across an ocean to get here or whether you just strolled or rolled down the street from your home, we're glad you're here. I'm Roger Jones and I'm happy to serve as one of the ministers of this congregation. Today's preacher is my co-minister, the Reverend Lucy Bunch. Her sermon is entitled Hopeless and Helpless. We are happy to have our member Courtney O'Neill at the piano and special music by several of our members. If you're with us online, you can find a copy of today's order of service on our website through a link in the chat. The blue sheet, our weekly calendar of activities, is also online as well as on paper. And if you're on Zoom after the service, we have 20 minutes for you to get acquainted with one another in a breakout room. Here on campus, you can always check out the connections table in the welcome hall and enjoy coffee and other refreshments and conversation. Our Friday email message about the upcoming weekend will come out by email, believe it or not. And to receive that and other information, we hope you will fill out a newcomer's form either by the link to our website or at the welcome table after the service so we can connect with you. We're really glad you're here. Our congregation's mission statement says, we come together to deepen our lives and be a force for healing in the world. For that reason, I am very excited about a special event after the service. It is our first social justice activity fair. So grab your coffee or tea and visit the tables out on the patio. All of our UUSS teams and committees that work on putting our values into practice will be ready to describe the work that we do and to invite participation by others. And that includes UU the Vote for postcard writing to voters in other states as Election Day approaches. And in addition to our own groups, most of the local organizations that we have selected as our community partners have representatives here, and they are eager to meet you and tell you what they do. If you're a community partner in the room or representative, would you raise your hand? Okay. Thank you for being here. And if you are a family with children and youth, or you're a child or youth, there will be activities related to social justice over in the FAS room, just across the patio. We call it our Religious Education and Family Ministry Lounge, but today you could call it a launching pad into action. So feel free to come over there and have some snacks and learn. And really happy this is happening. Also, after the service today, you can buy tickets for our annual service auction event. Join us on Saturday, the 8th of November from 4 to 6 p.m. and the theme is Hats Off to Community. Visit the auction table during coffee hour to check out the wonderful, delectable menu and donate an item for the service auction or donate a themed basket for the basket drawings. You can sign up to volunteer at the event, or you can sign up to drop off donations of wine for the event. Tickets for this big event are sold in advance only, not at the door, either online or at this table after the service. And you can learn how to make service auction donations on our website if you're not with us in person. Tickets for the event are $30 per person, but the committee that's putting this event on wants to make sure that it's affordable. So if you would like, discounted tickets are available for $10 a person. And at this event, childcare will be provided. Hats off to community. Just one more big thing to tell you about. May I have a drum roll, please? Next Sunday, after the service, is our congregational meeting. This is an important part of our self-governing identity as a congregation. It will start at 11:45 and last about an hour, maybe less, with childcare available. Everybody is welcome, but we need a quorum of UUSS members to vote on the business. Now, as we all check our cell phones and alarms to make sure they're silent, let us prepare to receive the music for centering.
It is time now that we thrive. It is time. despise. We shall be known as the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we feed ourselves into the web. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
Our chalice lighter this morning is Fred Panic, Community Partner Coordinator, and our words are Glow Hope by Mary Sheldon. More than relic, living symbol, beacon to the bewildered, illuminating refuge, light of love calling to community, signal of sacred mission, shine now in the world, set being ablaze, kindle our courage, ignite intuition, spark our hearts to service, glow hope.
And it is now time for any youth that are going to be going out to religious education classes, and we will sing you away with the verse of our song. We got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love.
How's everybody doing? Nice to be together. One of the important things we do as a community is sharing the joys and sorrows that are on our hearts. This is how we weave together the fabric of community. A few sorrows to share. One among us is saying that their grandson Tyler is waiting for spinal surgery and is in pain. Another among us is sharing the sorrow that their niece Brittany died after a lifelong struggle with drug addiction, asking for prayers and healing for her parents, daughter, and stepsister. And on the joy column, we're very excited for Janet Lopes and John McMillan, who welcomed the birth of their first grandchild, which implies there will be more grandchildren, Nora Thu Lee, who was born October 6th. Nora's parents are Don Lee and Alice Lopes Lee, and Alice and her brother Ian grew up in this congregation. So if you see John or Janet, please give them, they're not here, they're with the baby, but tell them congratulations. It's a big event for their family. So it's been a tough week. I think for me, the hardest moment was seeing those people walking back to Gaza City, not knowing whether their houses would be standing, not knowing of anything of their lives remained. It was a moment of liberation, but also a recognition that nothing will ever be the same. And it made me realize the truth of that for us, for better or for worse. Nothing will ever be the same. So when I see pictures like that or challenging news, one of the first things I do, and I hope you do too, is doing some form of self-care. I have to tell you, my friends, that self-care is a form of resistance. Those who are driving fascism in this country want us to be afraid, destabilized, uncertain, angry, confused. And your job of resistance is to take care of yourself when those feelings come up. So we're going to do our humming practice this morning because it's fabulous and you should be doing it every day. It's the best form of self-soothing. It activates your vagus nerve, which controls the nervous system that manages anxiety and unconscious responses. And you want that. You want to manage that nervous system. So we're going to do our humming. For those of you who are new to this, we're just going to hum together as a community. For a while, I'll tell you when we're at the last breath. And I encourage you to touch your body somewhere as you hum, maybe your heart, maybe your chest, or your hand in your throat. I like to put my hand on my face, whatever feels good, but it's like circulates the resonance for you in a deeper way. And if you find yourself getting a throat tickle, I know sometimes that happens, just move the hum lower, get it out of your throat, move it down into your chest. So try out different things, but most importantly, find yourself in a calm place in your mind, thinking about something wonderful and beautiful, something soothing as we engage in our humming practice together. So here we go. Last one. Please join me in the spirit of prayer. Holy Spirit of life and love, we need you. We need to know that love springs forth, that the power of love can fill us and inspire us. We need to be comforted and reassured. We need to be challenged, Great Spirit. We call on you to be with us, to help us remember the ancestors that lived through times of challenge. Help us to take their lessons into our heart, into our body and spirit. Help us to remember all the people in this world who are striving, as we are, for justice and peace, for fairness, and for all people to thrive. Give us times of peace in our day. Give us times to restore ourselves and develop the resilience we need to be engaged in the world. We ask this with open hearts, with hurting spirits, with searching and questing, with love, with need, and with commitment. Blessed be. Amen. Now let us take a moment for the prayers in our own hearts. going to sing together a meditation on breathing. It starts just with the most simplest of drone. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Some of you will want to stay on that drone, and some of you will want to join me on the next part. Breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe out peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe peace. When I breathe out, I breathe love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out
These are some of your questions that the congregation submitted to Reverend Roger and Reverend Lucy for their question box services this past summer. The service today was created in response to these questions, and Reverend Lucy's awareness that these questions are on everyone's hearts and minds as we struggle to respond to what's going on in our country. Are you able to find hope for the future given the current state of the U.S. and the world, imminent climate change, rising autocracy, growing political divides, and violence, etc.? If so, what makes you hopeful? In a situation where you are helpless, what can you do to make a difference apart from prayers? How do you deal with the cruelty by our government? How do you have courage in the face of challenges? How does one prepare for World War III? Every Sunday, you light a candle and say that love outworks hate. Do you really think that love will triumph?
Let's light the candle.
We will.
Václav Havel was a Czechoslovakian. Václav Havel was a Czechoslovakian dissident. Oh. Václav Havel was a Czechoslovakian dissident, writer, playwright, poet, activist, imprisoned, and then after communism became the president of Czechoslovakia and then the president of the Czech Republic. He passed away in 2011. Havel wrote, "The kind of hope that I often think about, I understand above all as a state of mind, not a state of the world. Either we have hope within us or we don't. It is a dimension of the soul. It's not essentially dependent upon some particular observation of the world or estimate of the situation. Hope is not the same thing as optimism. It is not the conviction that something will turn out well, but the certainty that something is worth doing, regardless of how it turns out. This hope gives us the strength to live and continually to try new things, even in conditions that seem as hopeless as ours do here and now."
Rebecca Solnit. Okay, here we go. Rebecca Solnit is an American writer and activist. This quote is from her book, her 2016 book, Hope in the Dark. Hope locates itself in the premise that we don't know what will happen, and that in the spaciousness of uncertainty, there is room to act. When you recognize uncertainty, you recognize that you may be able to influence the outcomes. You alone or you in concert with a few dozen or several million others. Hope is an embrace of the unknown and the unknowable as alternative to the certainty of both optimists and pessimists. It is the belief that what we do matters even though how and when it may matter and what it may impact are not things we can know beforehand. This quote is from Thich Nhat Hanh, a Buddhist teacher and activist. Hope has some value because it can make the present moment less difficult to bear. But when we cling to our hope in the future, we do not focus our energies and capabilities on the present moment.
Every time I feel this way, this is old familiar sinking. I will lay my troubles down by the water, where the river will never run dry. Hallelujah. I'm gonna let myself be lifted. I'm gonna let myself be lifted. I'm gonna let myself be lifted. And by and by, I will lay my troubles down by the water, where the river will never run dry. It's been said, and I do believe, as you ask, so shall you receive. So take from me these troubles, bring me sweet release, where the river will never run dry. Hallelujah. I'm gonna let myself be lifted. I'm gonna let myself be lifted. I'm gonna let myself be lifted by water, where the river will never run dry. There is a river in this heart of hearts, with knowingness of my highest good. I am willing, I will do my part, where the river will never run dry. Alleluia, myself be lifted, I'm gonna let myself be lifted, I'm gonna let myself be lifted by and by. I will lay my troubles down by the water, where the river will never run dry, where the river will never run dry. This river will never run dry.
I'm gonna let myself be. I'm gonna let myself be. And now we're going to light our candle of compassion and resistance. In these times of disruption and anxiety, when cruelty is on display in our country, this flame is a reminder to bear witness to human decency, dignity, and freedom. By this light, let us remember that fear is outworked by hope, and that hatred is no match for the power of love. In these days to come, may this flame light our way forward with courage and wisdom. I don't have to tell you these are challenging times. And for ministers, one of the challenges is what to preach on Sunday. Here this morning and on every Sunday, there are people who need peace and reflection. Others want to be challenged. Some want us to bring all the world's issues into every service. Others want this to be a place of refuge. We try to find the balance, but in these times, it's hard to know what's right. So ministers call this balance, it's a balance between prophetic and pastoral, challenging or comforting. That's our job. And as someone put it, our job is to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. So here we go. Some of the questions we received in the question box service told me what was on the hearts and minds of some of you. Indeed, likely many of you, since things have only gotten worse since this past summer. I've pondered these questions, and I bring you some of my thoughts this morning. So let's start with this idea of hope and hopelessness. Like many of you, I am looking for a sign that the end is near. Not the end of the world, but the end of this horribleness. I've been looking for a savior to lead us through. It's like, oh, maybe they're a savior, I'll give them money. But through my reading and my reflection, I've come to appreciate that our hope can't be dependent on an outward sign. Václav Havel tells us that hope is a state of mind, not a state of the world. He tells us it's a dimension of the soul. He gained his wisdom as a leading dissident in the nonviolent overthrow of the communist regime in Czechoslovakia in the late 1980s. I was drawn to his message and to the efforts of all those who worked for years to take down the authoritarian regime. How did they stay in it for the long haul? How did they find the courage to stand up? Havel tells us that hope, to him, is the certainty that something is worth doing, no matter how it turns out. Hope is the certainty of doing something, no matter how it turns out. He says that hope grounded in our values gives us the strength to live and continually try new things, even in conditions as hopeless as ours do here and now. So Rebecca Solnit explores another dimension of hope. She's an author that's written extensively on hope and is a strong dissident voice in our world today. I highly recommend you reading her daily messages. So Solnit has a slightly different take. She locates hope in what she calls the spaciousness of uncertainty. The spaciousness of uncertainty. She says that hope arises in this uncertainty because that's where the possibility is. That's where the influence is. In that spaciousness of uncertainty is where there's room for us to act. So if we are certain that things are going to be okay, if we're an optimist, what's the point of doing anything? If we're certain that things are going to be bad, what's the point of doing anything? Hope is alive in that place of uncertainty where we have an opportunity to make a difference. Of course, undergirding this idea is the premise that nothing is determined. The future is not here, and the future is not written. We are all creating this future together. That's where the possibilities arise. For UUs, this is the theology of interdependence. What we do matters. How we treat each other matters. How we live our values matters. We are all together with all beings, co-creating the future of our world.
Generosity is a spiritual practice, which is why we commit to giving away half of every Sunday's offering to an organization whose mission aligns with ours. This month, we are sharing our plate with Planned Parenthood Marmonte, which delivers vital care to hundreds of thousands of people in Northern California and Nevada. As one of their clients describes, quote, "For 10 years, as I struggled to work my way through 2 college degrees, I had no access to health insurance. It was dehumanizing. Even when I was able to afford a doctor, I was turned away because I had no insurance. It felt like my life didn't matter. My only options for health care were urgent care clinics and Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood is always there for me, standing up for me and my needs when no one else would. And now I'm standing up for Planned Parenthood. Given the national assault on reproductive and gender-affirming health care, your generosity to Planned Parenthood matters now more than ever. And you have the opportunity today to meet with representatives from Planned Parenthood at our social justice fair out on the patio after church. Our community partners are represented there along with our UUSS group. With deep thanks for your support, this morning's offering will now be given. as the ushers bring forward the offering, please join me in saying in unison words, may generosity bless our world, and may gratitude nourish our spirits.
As you might expect, did I not turn it on? I think she's got it. She's got it. Okay, great, thank you. As you might expect, my first experience of feeling hopeless about the state of human affairs was when I was a teenager. I was in high school at the height of the Vietnam War. My birth year was the last year that boys were drafted at 18 and sent to Vietnam. What could we do? What could I do? It was hopeless. America was sending its young men to die or be maimed physically or psychologically. The dead, 1 to 3 million Vietnamese soldiers and citizens. 300,000 Cambodians, 50,000 Laotians, 58,000 Americans, says Wikipedia. I remember having my first real discussion about politics with my mom. I must have been obviously frustrated and feeling helpless. She asked me what was wrong, and I poured out my cynicism and contempt for our leaders in, I'm sure, a teenager's inarticulate but very emotional way. The memory is detailed, I think, because my hopelessness and feeling of powerlessness was very strong. My mother listened and then suggested that change could really happen. Work with others, join in the group protests, write letters. She said, don't give up. That's what the power grabbers want you to do, to shy away and give up. I went to numerous protests, even one big one in Washington, with my mom. These days, I take my mind off the ugly big view of things every day for a little bit by helping those who do not have my privileges of education and opportunity. I work about 40 hours a week helping Afghan refugees. The men worked alongside US troops and the families had to flee when we pulled out of their country. Some got help from the US Army to get to the US, and some did not, like Saeed. I and a few others in this congregation and some of my non-UU friends help them learn English, navigate our social safety net programs, pay for and navigate immigration, set up and use medical and dental insurance, and find providers and chase after medical and dental referrals as needed. I have some recent victories. I brought a child back to life, administratively speaking, when Medi-Cal said he was dead and wouldn't let him see a doctor. In collaboration with a younger Afghan, I wrote and compiled applications for permanent residency for a family of 10 that were recently successful. And not yet in the victory column, I'm helping the 20-year-old boy in that family navigate traffic court. The Afghans have taught me, above all, patience and to treat everyone with respect and a smile. My small problems fade into insignificance. And the Afghans give my retirement purpose. Their children are the future of America, and I have a myriad of small ones who hug my knees and greet me, Sue, Sue, when I come to visit, even after I take them for shots or blood draws. I am truly blessed.
Sharon Welch is a professor and ethicist at Meadville Lombard Theological School, a UU seminary. Becoming so easily discouraged is the privilege of those accustomed to too much power, accustomed to having needs met without negotiation and work, accustomed to having a political and economic system that responds to their needs. For those cushioned by privilege and grounded in privilege, for whom the good life is present or within reach, it is tempting to resort to merely enjoying the good life for oneself and one's family.
Howard Zinn was an American historian and a veteran of the Second World War. Zinn wrote more than 20 books, including his best-selling and influential A People's History of the United States. Howard Zinn died in 2010. These are his words. To be hopeful in bad times is not just foolishly romantic. It is based on the fact that human history is a history not only of cruelty, but also of compassion, sacrifice, courage, kindness. What we choose to emphasize in this complex history will determine our lives. If we see only the worst, it destroys our capacity to do something. If we remember those times and places, and there are so many, where people have behaved magnificently, this gives us the energy to act, and at least the possibility of sending this spinning top of a world in a different direction. And if we do act in however small a way, we don't have to wait for some grand utopian future. The future is an infinite succession of presents. And to live now as we think human beings should live, in defiance of all that is bad around us, this is itself a marvelous victory.
So there's a Facebook meme that's been going around in the last few months. Really caught my attention. It said, if you ever wondered what you would have done during the rise of fascism in Nazi Germany, you're doing it now. I have to tell you, my friends, that was like a gut punch. I felt a little sick and a little ashamed when I read that. So what do you think was going on for the people of Germany who stood by as fascism took over their country? I'm not talking about those who were doing the whole Heil Hitler thing and joining in. I'm talking about those who were opposed, but maybe not actively. Likely they were afraid, confused, overwhelmed. Why didn't they do anything? Well, lots of them did, and lots of them didn't. Were they thinking it was someone else's responsibility? Were they waiting for their savior to come? Or maybe for some, their lives were unaffected, and so they thought it really wasn't about them. Likely they felt hopeless and helpless themselves. For me, it brings to mind the statement, the only thing necessary for evil to succeed is for good people to do nothing. Professor and ethicist Sharon D. Welch calls this despair-supported complacency. She says that being so easily discouraged is the privilege of those accustomed to power, accustomed to having their needs met without negotiation or work, accustomed to having political and economic systems that respond to their needs. She says that for those for whom the good life is present or within reach, it's tempting to resort to merely enjoying a good life for oneself and one's family. Welch could very well be speaking about the Germans during the rise of fascism. but she was speaking about liberals in the United States. So, does that describe us? My dear friends, maybe a little. My dear friends, maybe a little bit more than a little. Those of us who are white, financially secure, used to having things go the way we expect them to go, are experiencing some serious cognitive dissonance. Now, Trump 1 was a warm-up, a big shock when he got elected. So in a way, we've kind of learned some things, but the destruction now is on steroids. Many of us are feeling gobsmacked, feeling numb. We fall into despair, overwhelmed by what's going on, feeling powerless and uncertain about what we can do about it. This is a form of fragility. All right, let's all take a deep breath and let it out with a sigh. And one more. So where do we go from here? Well, first of all, we can learn from what happened in Nazi Germany. And if you haven't read Timothy Snyder's On Fascism, I encourage you to do so. I put 4 copies in the bookstore, and they're free. You only have to ask for them. Take one. Snyder walks us through the history of fascism in Europe and gives us specific things to do to make a difference now. And his first instruction is don't obey in advance. The forces of fascism want us to be confused, afraid, angry, and overwhelmed. Don't obey in advance. Don't let fear or uncertainty stop you from doing what you know is the right thing to do. So as this future unfolds, the question of what will be asked of us is pretty damn scary. So I suggest we don't wait for it to get worse. We don't wait for that signal that tells us, okay, now you need to do this. Do something now. Helplessness is not an option. So let's turn to Howard Zinn for some inspiration. He said, what we choose to emphasize in this complex history will determine our lives. I actually think that's the crux of the sermon this morning. We can be gloom and doom, we can be stuck in hopelessness and helplessness, or we can see the possibilities within the uncertainty. Really, you have to know that our need for certainty is holding us back. We struggle with not knowing what to do and not knowing whether what we do will make a difference. So please know this. You may never know whether what you do makes a difference. You may never know that. But you must believe in your purpose for doing it. Every little bit makes a difference. Transformation does not occur because some miraculous leader stood up. It's the effort of building the foundation of change, all the little actions. This was true with Martin Luther King, with Gandhi. Their actions would have not been enough without the underlying community behind them. I'm a fungus fan, and I will tell you the fungus teaches a lesson because we think the mushrooms are the thing. The mushrooms are the result of an intense web of underground networks of fungal threads that give birth the flowering of their efforts in the mushroom. Let's be fungal threads. We are building this web of connection through our work for justice, our work building interconnections. We are not helpless and we are not powerless. Okay. I can't fix the political system with my actions. I can't stop ICE from vicious actions against immigrants, though some people wearing frog costumes have done that in Portland, Oregon. But I can help the homeless in my community. I can go up to a rally and show up for justice. I can support refugee families. I can write postcards to voters. I can do many things, all of which make a difference. And I can especially do what I need to do to keep my spirits up. I can look for the good. Sin says that if we only see the worst, it destroys our capacity to do something. But if we remember those times and places, he says there are so many where people behave magnificently. It gives us the energy to act. Look for the good. There are some magnificent people here today at our social justice fair, community partners who came to be with you, to share with you, to connect with you. They are working for a cause that they believe in, many of them for years, many of them slogging endlessly against a difficult challenge. Our own UUSS justice groups are here as well, committed to making a difference. I was deeply inspired by Sue Jones' reflection on her work with refugee families, as I know many of you were. She is magnificent. Today, all these folks are asking us to join them, to step into the possibility of making a difference in someone's life, making a difference in our city, our region, our country. I know that many of you are engaged in work for justice in many ways. But I want to tell you folks, it's time for us to recommit. On November 17, 1989, riot police suppressed a student protest against the communist regime in Prague, Czechoslovakia. This sparked a series of demonstrations. On November 20th, the number of protesters in Prague grew from 200,000 the previous day to an estimated 500,000 people. The entire top leadership of the Communist Party resigned on November 24th. On November 27th, the people had a 2-hour general strike involving all citizens of Czechoslovakia. In response, the Communist Party of Czechoslovakia, that had been in power for 40 years, announced that it would relinquish power and end the one-party state. Later that year, Václav Havel was elected president. I was in Prague a few years ago, and I stood in the square where that protest took place. It was very emotional for me to be there because I could feel the power of the people who toppled a government. I can't prove that love is stronger than hate, but I intend to live like it's true. I think right now, for me, I'm not looking for hope. I'm looking for commitment. I'm going to replace my need for hope with determination. Determination not to be a bystander in this great crisis in our country. Determination to do what I can, even when I'm afraid. Determination to look for the good and make a difference where I can. Determination to ground myself in the values that I believe will lead us to a better world and to live from those values. Want to join me?
Yes.
I invite us to remember that the work that needs to be done is work that we will do together as we stand and join in singing, I Am Willing. Join me in speaking together these words as we extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but we carry the light, love, and commitment of this gathering into the days to come.
We need to reach out. We need to reach out to each other, reach out to our world. I think I've said everything I want to say. Except I want to say that I love you, that you need to love each other, you need to bring kindness to this world and everything that you do. And you need to join us at the rally next Saturday, October 18th. Meet at 10 a.m. at the corner of 10th and L, the southeast corner of 10th and L. Meet us there, you strong. Go change the world.